Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in Pioneer. Today we're looking at Mono Black. Mono Black has gone through some iterations. Originally, the deck was a devotion control deck that tried to use permanents with many black pips, along with Nykthos and Grey Merchant as payoffs, and various other attrition-style draining effects. Those decks never caught on and didn't produce good results. As such, Mono Black decks in Pioneer have moved more towards traditional mid-range control and aggro decks. There are no stock lists, so I'll cover them generally. First up is Mono Black Mid-Range Control. These decks can lean more towards the mid-range or control archetypes depending on how you build them. In general, they're most similar to Rakdos mid-range and contain many of the same elements: the always trusty Thoughtseize, removal spells like Fatal Push, and various of the best black threats in the format like Sheoldred, Liliana, and Graveyard Trespasser. The biggest differences are that, with a Mono Black mana base, the deck doesn't stumble on color fixing and can run other lands such as multiple Castle Locthwains, Field of Ruin, and so on. Additionally, some cards setting Mono Black apart from Rakdos are things like Gifted Aetherborn, an all-around solid creature that can play offense and defense due to its combination of Lifelink and Death Touch, Sign in Blood for card advantage, and Invoke Despair at the top end. Despite these differences though, the deck is still quite similar to Rakdos midrange. So moving on to Mono Black Aggro. Mono Black Aggro is a deck looking to play an old-fashioned curve-out racing game plan with multiple 1-drops in Bloodsoaked Champion, Dread Wanderer, and Knight of the Ebon Legion, and 2-drops like Scrapheap Scrounger, Razorlash Transmogrant, or Tenacious Underdog, along with Mutavault. 3-drops include Murderous Rider and Spawn of Mayhem, although you could also play Graveyard Trespasser or Gix, and at the top end is Rankle, although Sheoldred could be played instead. And of course, Thoughtseize and Fatal Push are for disruption. There are also some vampire-centric variants that play Sorin Imperious Bloodlord. Sorin is great as a combination pump, removal, and reach effect, and works well since a number of creatures you already want to play are vampires, including Knight of the Ebon Legion and Gifted Aetherborn. Additionally, you can run Silver's Mo'Ghoul since it combines with Sorin's ability to basically cast a 0-mana Lightning Helix every turn. Mono Red Aggro gets reach via its burn spells and has haste creatures. Mono White has stacks effects, bigger creatures, exile-based removal, and Brave the Elements to force through damage. So what sets Mono Black apart? Well, Mono Black has a lot of recursive creatures that come back from the graveyard, so it's better able to fight sweepers, removal-dense decks, and it trades well in combat with other creatures. Also, Thoughtseize is a great disruption spell, and Castle Locthwain helps the deck refuel. Be forewarned though that any Mono Black deck requires a lot of practice. Unlike Mono White or Red Aggro, Mono Black has more decision points. You can use your mana on a lot of things, and what you do affects what you can do later. Whether to attack and what to attack with determines whether you can activate Bloodsoaked Champion or Scrapheap Scrounger, and if you can Spectacle Spawn of Mayhem. You have mana outlets in Knight of the Ebon Legion, Castle, and all your recursive creatures. You need to know what modes to choose for Rankle, whether to cast Murderous Rider on its adventure side, which ability of your Planeswalkers to use, what to sacrifice or discard, and so on. Tips and tricks. Sheoldred's life gain ability mitigates the life loss from effects that also draw cards, such as Sign in Blood and Castle Locthwain. Be aware that the recursion abilities of Bloodsoaked Champion, Dread Wanderer, Scrapheap Scrounger, Razorlash Transmogrant, and Tenacious Underdog all have different timings and conditions. Also, some of those creatures can't block or enter tapped. Various effects in black cause you to lose life as a cost, such as Thoughtseize, Sign in Blood, Castle, Murderous Rider, Spawn of Mayhem, etc. So keep in mind when playing against aggro or when you're in a damage race. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Mono Black and Pioneer. Thank you to my supporters, and if you enjoy these videos, consider supporting the channel, and take care.